Linaro Connect in Redwood City, California, and I'm here with Zach Pfeffer. Zach, you're the Android team lead at Linaro. There's been a lot of exciting things that have happened since the last Linaro Connect up until now, and looking forward to the future, there's a lot more exciting things coming up. What have been some of the challenges to get to the point where you and your team are at now across multiple boards?
Well, I don't want to talk about challenges just yet. I want to talk about what we've actually managed to do between last Connect and this Connect, because it's actually pretty spectacular, right? We have managed to fully enable 3 of the 4 platforms, nearly, all right? We've got 3D graphics enablement on 3 of the 4 platforms that we support, and that's spectacular, and that was tough. And we also, in addition to getting enablement, we got ICS on all of our platforms, and we even had to hack ICS to enable software graphics to maintain that enablement across every single device. So the great part about this is that now when people go to get our builds and they want to do an ICS-based development, they can come use one of our members' boards and have a great development environment. They're no longer are they hacking, needing to go to Best Buy to get a phone that's not going to work for them, or needing to root it. I mean, you can build soup to nuts a graphics-enabled device. So that's where we are. Now, the challenges. You asked me what the challenges are. The challenges are binary blobs. Completely binary blobs. Linaro is dedicated to ensuring that we track the tip kernel, that we track tip GCC, and that's our goal. That is directly in conflict with how the ARM device manufacturers and how the ARM ecosystem works. The ARM ecosystem works by picking a kernel and picking a tool chain and building a product. And you generate these binary blobs that enable DSPs and graphics cores, and the product ships, and these things are locked forever against those versions of the kernel and GCC. It makes it almost impossible to do our job. But you got to find a way. You got to change things. You need to make ARM a spectacular reference platform, and part of that is solving this binary blob issue so that you can track a tip kernel, so that you can rebuild a unit with the tip tool chain and also have enablement. And so one thing that I am putting my sights on is, in the next quarter, how can we work with our device manufacturers to actually solve this problem? Because this is it. This is the problem in ARM right now, is these binary blobs. Nothing takes more time, resources, or effort than this issue in the ARM ecosystem. And Linaro is in a great place to help solve this problem. And it's not even about the typical issues people bring up with binary blobs. And I don't have to enumerate those because everybody knows. The way I think about it is, this is hurting our device manufacturers more than anything. This is the thing that takes the longest in the product chain. You could have a new Android phone every single month that was kept up to date with much better enablement, that would save more power, that you'd have better performance on, if we can just work this thing out. So I consider this to be the problem, and I'm hoping that we can work with our device manufacturers, and our device manufacturers are open to this. It's a purely economic reason why we want to solve this problem. So our challenges are really just one: fix the binary blobs so that we can have enablement, so that we can track tip kernels, so that we can track GCC, so that we can actually produce a reference ARM implementation that people in the PC space have enjoyed for years with x86.
It's always a pleasure to sit down and talk to you, as I did at the last Connect, because you are one of those personalities within Linaro that is very exciting and who also inspires and excites others to get involved with the project. And I can say that not only as someone who looked on the outside since Linaro was announced, but now as someone who is getting excited about the things that we're doing as Linaro. And to sit down with you and to walk through the steps of installing two of the member boards and realizing that the resources that we give the community are indeed easy to follow, and that we are thorough in how we present that to not only our members but to that community of people who want to pick up those boards and install ice cream sandwich or install whatever the next open source Android build happens to be, that they're excited for what you and your team and Linaro as a whole is putting out in those LEB builds. How can the community, not just members, not just developers, but those end users that want to go out and buy whatever board they want to happen to go out and buy and then say, I want to go install the Android LEB build and I want to get involved with it. How can they get involved?
Well, there's a lot of ways. And you really are being too charitable, because we went through both of those builds and they were not as easy as I made them out to be. And I realized that they weren't as easy as I made them out to be. I mean, I've said for a while that, 5 easy instructions and you're going to be building, right? You're going to be running on the board, but it's not like that. There are still issues. There are still things. So that was great, right? And to bring people that are not necessarily engineers, that are not necessarily developers, and enable them to actually use these platforms in a way that they would use a standard computer, program a standard computer. That's the next thing. That's the next thing. And we hope that over the next quarter we will be able to streamline even further the user experience, so that users can really just point and click and program the build. That would be spectacular. And when we get to that point, then a whole new community opens up. The community of modders and XDA and these Android enthusiasts that they might want to replace like this library or that library, and we'll be able to help them out. And that'll be really cool.
So your team has a mailing list,
Yep.
an IRC channel. What you have your Android Builder site,
Right?
You also have a way. Can the community get involved if they already have one of our partner boards or member boards, and they're running Android or the latest Android build that I release? How can they give feedback to your team?
Well, you had asked me, how can people get involved? What are the main and yeah, we have a mailing list. We have IRC. We have G+. We have ask.linaro.org. We have email. We have just a variety of different ways. I'm Zach Pfeffer on G+. People can message me through that. I'm zach.pfeffer@linaro.org. They can message me that way. You can get the team at linaro-android at lists.linaro.org. You can go onto our wiki page. You can see Meet the Team. We list kind of how we break the team down and who does what. So yeah, I mean, it's any way you want to get in touch, get in touch. We even have Facebook. So, write on my wall and say I can't do X, Y, Z, and we'll figure it out.
There's also a Linaro Android G+ page that you quite frequently post to about all the happenings around your team, and the Linaro page quite often picks up as well. And so there's another way to track your team as well.
Yep.
So as we look as we now kind of in this connect, kind of the first part of the week, so this is where we're at, this is how we got here, and then at the last part of the week, so this is where we're going. And we're actually going to Hong Kong in 3 months, and we're going to be.
I'm leaving for the airport in like 2 hours, so I can make it there on time.
So we're going to go to Hong Kong in May. What can we expect out of your team as we head into Hong Kong?
Well, I'm hoping that it's not just my team. I'm hoping that the entire Linaro organization, not only our working groups, but our landing teams and our members, all try to turn all the boards completely on. Full enablement for everything. In Linaro, tip kernels, tip GCC. If we're there, we're going to be rocking. Because once we get there, maintaining that will be easy. You know, we'll have established all of the methods and we'll invent all the means to actually keep that going, and you know, from regressions to CI loops to topic branch-based development, and we'll really be cooking. So I hope that in Hong Kong, I'm sitting here and I am just bubbling over with excitement of there I'll work, and then, you know, we've got other things in the pipe, other big things that should really help people out and really establish ARM as the place to do kernel development, to do Android development for now and into the future.
Before we wrap up, next week is the Linux Foundation's Embedded Linux Conference and
ABS
and Android Builders Summit. So, and you mentioned binary blobs earlier. I believe you're one of 14 presenters from Linaro who will be giving a talk, and I believe your talk is entitled "When Binary Blobs Attack," and I think that goes to your point earlier about what the problems that face these boards and these builds. Is there anything else you want to say about Android, our LEB build, Linaro, or the community as a whole?
I think that it's important as we move on into the future of supporting these boards and the next boards that are coming and the next SoCs, that we start to work closer together with both the communities and the members and the Android baselines that exist in the world. That we're still kind of doing the same thing in different places. And that's fine, and that's great, because people have different expectations and people have different products and things like that. But eventually, you got to get to a point where you all get in the same boat and row in the same direction. And so I hope that in the future that we can get there, that we can all get in the same boat, and that we can row to full enablement and row to tip kernels and row to GCC 4. Whatever you want to get to. And I think platform is the perfect way to get there. Platform is a thing. It's a goal. We have test sheets, right? Half of that test sheet right now is red. We need to make it all green. And we need to make it all green not for this Android baseline or that Android baseline, but for the Android baseline, for this board. And then we look forward to the future of, well, how do I have an Android baseline for 2 boards that works at the same time, and 3 boards and N boards, and you get out, you know, and then you really get into that reference design. So, and I think we'll get there. I think our trajectory is in that direction, so we can't help but get there.
Well, Zach, thank you so much for taking time to sit down and talk to me about all the exciting things that are going on with your team and within Linaro. And I hope that as we all row in the same direction toward Hong Kong, Linaro Connect, you'll have even more exciting things to tell me and tell the viewers of this video. So thank you so much.
No problem, Amber. Thank you.